Hi, welcome to a shooting from the hip episode of Bethany Talks About Stuff. I'm your host, Bethany Afterwars, author of the Sea Adrasian Chronicles, available from Amazon and now Audible. And I'm shooting from the hip because I want to talk about this really quickly. This is not something I normally do, but a friend of mine sent me this article because they know I've been following all of this Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed nonsense that's going on. And it is staggering. So I wanted to talk about it while it was still hot, frankly, while the tea was still hot. I wanted to talk about it. Somehow, a bunch of physical copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows has been leaked out into the world. That's really bad. So, to quickly sum up, and I'm going to read some of this article because it does a really good job of kind of recapping what's going on with Ubisoft and in relation to Assassin's Creed and some of the stuff that's going on, the controversies that I have talked about already. This kind of sums it up and brings it full circle. But basically, a bunch of hard copies have leaked, and Ubisoft is in a bad place, and they really need Assassin's Creed Shadows to do well. Well, having leaked physical copies go out really messes up their launch process, right? So they were supposed to release November of 2024, but that didn't happen, and they pushed back to February 14th, 2025, and then they came back and pushed back to March 20th of 2025. Well, it is February 26th, and those were leaked, and they actually were leaked on the 24th. So, almost a month before the release date, physical copies made their way out into the world. And of course, streamers have been playing them live, and Ubisoft has done the best they can to try to get all of that yanked down off the internet. But you guys know the internet is forever. So that stuff is just still making the rounds. Now, I personally have not yet had time to go out there and find and watch any of it because I have been super, super busy, which I've just been super busy. If you don't know, I have a full-time job. I have a part-time job. I have a 15-year-old living with me, and, uh, I also am back in school trying to finish my English degree and remembering now that I don't care much for literature.
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie.
I'm so glad my friend sent me this article because I was like, "Holy cow, this is a good recap." So, that's what's going on now. They're losing their minds, rightfully so. Um, these leaked copies, it does mess things up for them, and think about it, I do feel kind of bad for people who are kinda trying to stay out of the controversy, and they're just banking on, "Hey, it's an Assassin's Creed game. I love Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna buy it. I'm excited." I have at least one friend that's like, "I don't care what happens. I'm gonna buy it. I'm really looking forward to it." He is the kind of person that we actually had this conversation last weekend. He was like, "I don't even listen to any of these videos and stuff anymore because I did that one time, and I didn't buy a game, and then I went eventually and played the game and found I really liked it, but if I hadn't listened to that person, I would have liked it and enjoyed it a long time ago." Fair enough. So he's like, "I'd rather just play it myself and make my own decisions." Well, so this messes people like that up. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna it's hard to avoid those spoilers once they're out there. So it's really unfair to the people who are genuinely excited. I think there are maybe only 4 people left that are genuinely excited like that, but there are some. I feel a little sorry for Ubisoft because they really are floundering, but they just keep making mistake after mistake after mistake and doubling down on the mistakes. Instead of just acknowledging, "Hey, we made a mistake. This was a bad choice." They just keep doubling down on it. So, let's talk about what's going on. So, leaked copies are out there. The spoilers are abounding, gameplay streams are out there. They've already had trouble. Um, there was where is it? Earlier this month, an art book for Assassin's Creed Shadows was leaked online through an unlikely source, a niche illustration website exposing key details about the game's story, characters, and environments well ahead of schedule. So they've already had that leak. Um, then the first expansion was accidentally revealed via a Steam product page update. And then it came to light that it looks like it's supposed to be 10 extra hours of additional content but some people say it looks like it's actually content cut from the regular game so they could sell it later. I'm so sick of these greedy companies doing this. And y'all, capitalist, okay? Make your money. But at the same time, you have customers in a free market. You need to like meet your customers' needs and give them product they want. Everything about this has been kind of the opposite of what their customers want. And instead of saying, "You know what? Maybe we've misjudged what should go into this game or how we should treat it," they've just been like, "Well, you gamers are you just suck." Yeah. Makes me excited to buy your product. And that is exactly how they've treated all of this. Anybody's complaints about the particular um any particular point of historical inaccuracy, well, you're just a jerk. You're just a jerk. You just don't understand. Maybe this game isn't for you. Yeah, I think you're probably right there. The leak raises serious concerns about Ubisoft's ability to secure its supply chain and prevent unauthorized distribution. Whether these physical copies made it into players' hands due to manufacturing mishaps, retail breaches, or other distribution failures remains unclear. Regardless, the leak has already caused significant damage to Ubisoft's launch strategy and could severely impact day one sales. I'm sure that is 100% true. But I also think the people that I know who would normally have been excited about this game are already, like, even before this leak, have been kind of deflated about it because of all the bad PR coming out of their very poor choices, which let's get to some of those. like, uh, this isn't the kind of setback Ubisoft can afford right now. The company has been relying heavily on Assassin's Creed Shadows to generate much needed revenue amid financial instability and a string of underperforming titles. The company is in serious trouble. It is in serious trouble. And I came across information recently that it was all everywhere that Tencent, which is like a Chinese company, was looking to just buy out Ubisoft. And they were entertaining that, and that was the first time in a long time the stock actually went up a little bit because their stock has been in a free fall. But it went up a little bit when the rumors of the sale were happening. But then it turns out that the current owners were willing to sell if they could continue to head up the company. Why would anybody want that? Why you are sinking the ship and I'm gonna buy the ship but leave you as captain? Uh no, no. So they backed out and Ubisoft continues in their free fall. Dummies. So, from historical inaccuracies to allegations of cultural insensitivity, Shadows has been the subject of relentless criticism from fans, historians, and even religious institutions. Yeah, most of the comments I have seen, believe it or not, are not even about Yasuke, which, of course, has been a big controversy. And even I've been like, in feudal Japan, you got a black samurai? That doesn't really make any sense. Uh, and I'm gonna come back to that, but most of the comments I've seen have been like, "I'm Japanese, and this is not our culture. You're not properly reflecting our culture. You've got Chinese writing mixed in with Japanese writing. You've got, um, things are out of proportion." There's just been a lot of stuff like that, and, yeah, it hasn't really been addressed. So they just keep saying, "Well, if you think the black samurai is a bad idea, then you're just a jerk." It's not even about that. Like, there oh, okay, let's go on because this is well written. One of the earliest points of contention was Ubisoft's decision to make Yasuke a supposedly historical black samurai the main playable character. While Yasuke is a real figure from Japanese history, his role and influence during the era remain highly debated. That's been the big thing. Like, was he truly a samurai or not? A lot of history um a lot of historical documents make it sound like he was not. But there are some that do. It's debated. Critics argued that Ubisoft took significant creative liberties, prioritizing modern ideological trends over historical authenticity. This is where the problem, in my opinion, comes in. It's one of those updating for modern audiences kind of things. It's not necessary. Not everything needs to be updated for modern audiences. In fact, I would venture to say they honestly would have done better to be committed to representing feudal Japan more historically accurately because that's what people like. That's interesting in and of itself. It doesn't need a lot of liberties. Also, my thing is they're constantly saying and telling everybody how proud they are of how historically accurate they are. And there are some things that they have done in other games that are amazing. The Notre Dame caught on fire a few years ago, and they went to Ubisoft to get some of the uh, diagrams and stuff that they had done of Notre Dame when they were making Assassin's Creed Unity, and they were able to use that to help rebuild. That's cool. That's cool. Like, that stuff, I love it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I watched some of the behind the scenes things about how they came up with the texture of the bricks of the buildings. Like, that stuff is amazing. Ubisoft can make a good game and can do some pretty cool stuff, but they they also can take a lot of liberties. Now, if they're honest about that, that's fine. I mean, we watch historical movies that we know lots of liberties have been taken. Braveheart didn't happen that way, okay? Like, it's a good movie. I love it. Freedom, but it's not really historically accurate. Some things are, some things aren't. That's normal. That's normal. Okay? Most of us are like, that's fine. It makes it a little more interesting. Just be honest about it. Just be honest. But instead, they've doubled down on how historically accurate they're being. Mhm. Okay, so let me go on. This sparked widespread debate among fans who had long awaited a traditional Japanese samurai or ninja protagonist in an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan. This is what I'm saying. They had the ability to have a home run here. Assassin's Creed fans. I'm not even a huge like feudal Japan fan. Like, I like Valhalla is actually more my deal because I like fantasy, and a lot of fantasy in my mind is kind of grounded in a medieval Europe. That's kind of where my mind goes when I write fantasy, think of fantasy, and that's what I like. So that was kind of my jam. But a feudal Japan setting for Assassin's Creed seems like a no-brainer. It seems so good. That sounded really cool to me. I was very interested in that, and then, we have to go off the rails. So, they just messed that up. The backlash didn't stop there. Ubisoft faced outrage for its depiction of real life religious sites, most notably this shrine name I can't pronounce. In Shadows, players could enter the shrine and damage its interior, including sacred artifacts and altars. The actual temple leaders were so offended by this betrayal that they formally requested Ubisoft remove the shrine from the game entirely, calling the depiction deeply disrespectful. Now, look, I wasn't crazy about the way Christian monasteries were handled in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I will admit Vikings raided Christian monasteries in that area at that time. That was historically accurate. Did I want to play somebody who went and stole from a monastery as a Christian? I feel a little weird about it. I felt a little weird about it. I'm not going to lie. I did feel a little weird about it, but it was at least historically accurate. And I'm like, yeah, it was at least historically accurate. Okay. Further controversies included Ubisoft, excuse me, use of unauthorized imagery and concept art, such as the name I can't pronounce, Rifle Corps banner, which was used without permission. That one got me. Like, they used somebody's artwork and didn't give them permission or credit. They didn't pay for it. But what if I used Assassin's Creed artwork for something I was making and didn't give them credit or get permission? You think they would just be like, "Hey, it's cool. Go for it." No. Probably not. Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. Unless there was something in it for them. Then there was the infamous collector's edition statue featuring a destroyed Torii Gate, a design that many felt eerily resembled the iconic image of the Hiroshima Torii Gate post World War II. Even I noticed that. Even I was like, "Ooh, that looks like pictures I saw after. Yeah. The backlash was so severe that the collectible figure maker, Pure Arts, pulled the statue from sale. This situation only worsened, and this is what I was talking about, when fans noticed glaring historical inaccuracies in early trailers, including oversized Tory gates, out of place flora, and oddly proportioned architecture. Despite Ubisoft's claims of extensive cultural research, these errors painted a picture of a company more interested in visual spectacle than authentic storytelling. So, again, if they had just been like, well, we're loosely basing our story on historical events. Okay. I mean, in Assassin's Creed 3, Connor partners up with George Washington, and I'm pretty sure there were liberties taken. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. Like, I didn't go into Assassin's Creed 3 thinking, I'm going to watch history played out in a game. I knew there would be some historical accuracies in it, but they made Charles Lee a Templar. That was a real person. I don't think he was a Templar in real life. It seems like he's not a great general, but he was a real person, and I don't think he was a Templar. Liberties were taken, understandably so. But in this one, and I reviewed some of the trailers that they did, and they were talking about some behind the scenes stuff. And that chick, I'm telling you, she went on. We are all about the history. We approached it like we do everything with history in mind and wanting to be historically accurate, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, in the next sentence, she's like, well, we don't really know much about Yasuke. I'm like, well, then how can you be historically accurate if you don't know anything about him? Okay. It's just a matter of you got to pick a side that you want to be telling a great story and be honest that you're going to take liberties with history. Or you can be historically accurate, which I think you could probably even still tell a good story. But if you're going to say you're going to be historically accurate, people are going to be watching much closer for it to be accurate. And you've got a lot of and there's just a lot of craziness happening here. So Ubisoft's financial freefall. This is interesting. Well, Assassin's Creed Shadows struggle under the weight of its own controversies. Ubisoft's financial health has been steadily declining, making this leak all the more catastrophic. Once valued at over 12 billion in early 2021, Ubisoft's market worth value has since plummeted to under $2 billion, a staggering drop that has alarmed investors and analysts alike. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Multiple underperforming releases combined with the company's public relations missteps have only deepened the financial woes. Ubisoft has undergone several rounds of layoffs in an attempt to stabilize, but even those measures haven't been enough to stop the bleeding. They're in real trouble. And I am telling you, it genuinely breaks my heart. Not because I'm like, "Oh, poor Ubisoft." It breaks my heart for me, because I am just now, in the last couple of years, finally discovering how crazy good Assassin's Creed has been, and now their company's getting ready to go because they're idiots. And let me tell you, a lot of people have been like, "Well, I don't know if the franchise can be saved anyway. There's already fatigue with the franchise, blah, blah, blah." I get that. I actually do get that. But I think you could refresh, not reboot, but like refresh the story and the game and the gameplay and save you could save Assassin's Creed. Good writing and ignoring like social justice issues and just focusing on telling a really good story, it would be possible. It would be possible. I feel like in my mind, I have ideas that I think would actually save the story. Now, I'm not a game developer, so I couldn't do the graphics or write like I'm not, but I tell stories and I think the story could be salvaged. It would be hard. It would be really hard, but I think you could do it. I actually do think you could do it. I was thinking about that with Doctor Who the other day too. Like, could Doctor Who be saved? Yeah, but there would have to be some serious retconning happening. I'm just gonna say it that way. Anyway, let's continue. The company has been banking on Assassin's Creed Shadows to serve as a financial lifeline, with expectations that the game's sales would help offset mounting losses. This makes the early leak and the subsequent proliferation of spoilers and pirated copies even more devastating. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad for Ubisoft. Ubisoft has been grappling with failed projects and canceled games that have drained resources without delivering returns. High profile titles like Skull and Bones suffered endless delays while other projects were shelved entirely. Wasn't Ubisoft the one that released Star Wars Outlaws? Am I losing my mind? Wait a minute. I gotta look that up. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they were. Let me get this out of the way. I'll look it up over here. Star Wars Outlaws. Ubisoft. Yep. And it did not do well. Star Wars Outlaws should have been, again, could have been a home run. It's Star Wars, right? Of course, that franchise is in a free fall. That's a whole different thing. Goodbye, Kathleen Kennedy, and good riddance to bad rubbish. But again, any Star Wars project could do really well. All you have to do is stay with the spirit of Star Wars, of the actual Star Wars. Nope, nope, nope. Can't, can't. There's a lot. That's a whole different thing. But Star Wars Outlaws did not do great, at least not what they expected. Skull and Bones did not do well. Other things have just not even been released. They didn't come out. They just said never mind. But they already lost all that money they invested in starting those projects. It's not good. With this latest leak, Ubisoft finds itself in a dire situation trying to salvage the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows while battling widespread piracy and managing a PR nightmare. The company has little room for error as it scrambles to control the damage. I don't know if you can just say it has little room for error. I don't think they can bring this back. I think Shadows is a mistake. But they are really between a rock and a hard place now because they can't just abandon it. They're too invested monetarily and time-wise, and they don't have anything else right now to pick up the slack. I mean, Assassin's Creed has been their saving grace again and again, and this isn't I just don't think it's gonna do what they need it to do. If Shadows fails to deliver the sales Ubisoft is counting on, the company could face even more severe financial consequences, potentially putting future projects and perhaps Ubisoft itself at risk. As of now, Assassin's Creed Shadows is still slated for release on March 20th. They got no choice, really, but whether it can overcome the series of setbacks remains to be seen. They're not in a good way, y'all. They are not in a good way. I'm just I'm heartbroken for the IP, but I only feel so sorry for Ubisoft. These were stupid decisions. They just were. They just were, and it was just not necessary. So, y'all, it just the hits keep coming for Ubisoft. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh my gosh. It's a lot to take in. Ubisoft has made a lot of very significant mistakes at this point. I don't know that they can recover. I hate it for the Assassin's Creed Shadows or Assassin's Creed franchise, excuse me. I hate it. And believe it or not, I was one who watched some of the gameplay trailers and thought it looked like kind of fun. Like some of the stuff looked like it might be fun. It may even still be a fun game, but I don't think it can survive the PR nightmare. I don't think that it's going to be enough to save Assassin's Creed. I could be wrong, or Ubisoft. I could be wrong, definitely. And if people get it and they like it, then they get it and they like it. This is something I was talking about with a friend of mine last weekend, actually. They convinced me to try to play Dragon Age Veilguard. And they were like, "I'm telling you, don't listen to all the hate reviewers. Just try it for yourself and see if you like it." Well, I only played a couple of hours, and I'm going to tell you, I thought that the character creation was actually pretty good. Like you had a lot of variation you could do, and I liked that. I felt like my character looked pretty good. I thought the hair was amazing, and the initial gameplay was it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I could see me potentially liking the game, but I hadn't gotten to the parts where that had caused people some heartburn. What they didn't like about it, I didn't get to yet. So I don't know if I could overcome the things I've seen in other reviews to still like the game, but it is true there have been games that, reviews have been really they've really dunked on the game, and I liked it. I'll give you an example, actually. Valhalla is one, like, it gets a lot of hate. Now, I still see a lot of love for Valhalla, but it got a lot of hate too. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this isn't Assassin's Creed, and it's bloated, and blah, 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 blah." But I loved Valhalla. I did, I really enjoyed it. Now, it was the first Assassin's Creed game I played, but I loved it. So, um, you like what you like. So who knows? I could be totally wrong. This game could release and people it just spread like wildfire that, "Hey, this is a great game. I enjoy playing it. It's really good. You should try it too." That could happen. I just think it's unlikely. And I think it's really sad. So let me know what you think in the comments. Does this seem like something that could save Ubisoft, or do you think they're just done? And if this doesn't work for them, what could work for them? Do you think Assassin's Creed could be saved? We'll see. We'll see. I'm interested to know your thoughts. Leave me some comments down there. I'll try to make sure I link this article so you can go out there and give it a look for yourself. Anyways, uh, that's it for now.